A very technical track to start out here. Lots of very subtle ways to gain and lose time. Touching the snow here does lose you unbelievable amounts of time, even though a lot of times it doesn't look like it. The snowmen obviously being quite a huge time loss if you hit one. Zoran opting to go to the outside of them there. Didn't have a great angle coming off that shroom. And yes, it is 2 a.m. for the Croatian sensation himself. Staying up very late to get this match done. Very close race so far. Expect to see that quite a bit in this matchup. These guys, very good, very consistent. Really no major mistakes so far from either player. As I say that, of course, Abney misses an MT. Abney getting a bounce on the landing there. Does look like he does still have just a slight lead. Zoran getting a slowdown on the landing to that shroom. I didn't quite see. He must have got caught up on the ground on the other side. And it is looking like Abney is going to take track 1. As you can see by the lap splits there after laps 1 and 2, a very close race, separated by just 0.04 going on to lap 3. And with his first pick, Zoran will be taking us to Mario Raceway. Mario Raceway, being such a short track, will punish you very hard for making any mistakes, and mistakes here tend to be quite large time losses. The mushroom cut especially, if you miss it, is going to lose you a lot of time, but I wouldn't expect these guys to make those kinds of mistakes. The mushroom cut should be pretty safe for both of them, and they make it both through that mushroom very easily on lap 1. Abney with about a 0.4 second lead there. That is quite a bit in time trials, but in a one-try scenario, it really is nothing. One little mistake and Zoran will catch right back up. Abney gaining even more time on lap 2. Oh, but he misses the mushroom cut on lap 3. Like I said, that mushroom cut, if you do miss it, is very punishing. And looking like Zoran here will take track 2 to tie up the set. You see there, just one single mistake on the track completely flips it over the other way. For the next track, we will be going to Luigi Raceway. A very low variance track, as it is quite a simple track, but because of that, again, any little mistakes will cost you. This is a track that is despised by many because it is so optimized. It's very difficult to improve your time on. Notice too, Abney is using Toad and Zoran is using Peach. All of the lightweights, that is Yoshi, Toad, and Peach, all have the exact same stats, drive identically, the only difference being that Toad is slightly lighter, but for time trials that doesn't actually matter. Zoran hitting the wall there on the entry to the tunnel. You will actually hit the tunnel intentionally, but not quite that way. Zoran also going for a 2 shroom lap 1, getting caught up in the sand, and even with the 2 shrooms, just barely ahead of Abney, so when the shrooms equal up, Abney is looking to get quite a lead. Zoran getting caught up on his shroom. That is going to lose him a lot of time, and you can see the very big difference between the two now. And barring any big mistakes, Abney should be taking track number 3. And he does, comfortably beating my PR in the process. To be perfectly honest, whoever wins is going to beat my PR, and I think pretty much every track. I haven't... Let's see. I beat Abney's time on Frapp, and I can't remember my PR for Mario Raceway. Zoran taking us to Sherbert Land for the next track, one of my favorites. So yeah, these guys in Division 1, their skill level is so insanely far away from the rest of us mortals that they'll be beating everyone's PRs. We'll see Sherberland. I remember my PR here. Sherberland wanting to take these crack jumps as brave as you can. If you fall into the water though, it's not a normal time loss. Like normally when you fall off the track, Lac 2 will pick you up and place you down onto the track. In this track, the water's cold, and when he drops you, you're in an ice cube, and you lose a couple extra seconds. Abney going to the inside of the penguin, Zoran going to the outside. Abney with a comfortable half-second lead, but the penguins, especially in the cave, are great equalizers. Zoran going into the water. I was watching Abney and was about to say he almost went in. Cut that crack jump very close, and then Zoran right into the drink. Now Abney could very easily make a similar mistake and bring Zoran right back into it. But for now has a extremely comfortable lead. I'd be surprised if he cuts this crack jump very, yeah, it takes it very safe. Elects to not even use the shroom in the cave, avoid the penguin, use the shroom up the hill. And with the swag ending into the water, Abney will take the set to 3-1. Abney taking us on a journey, a long journey through Wario Stadium for the next track. At least it's not Rainbow Road. Yet. Wario Stadium is a difficult track, very technical. It's very obvious on the leaderboard. Clear gaps in skill level between certain players, because where in some of the shorter tracks the differences are a few tenths, it's multiple seconds on this track between players. Same with Rainbow Road, just the sheer length of the tracks really accentuates the skill differences. Abney running into the wall there, so did Zoran a little bit, but he did gain a bit of time on Abney. And oh, Zoran hitting the wall on the shroom, just barely hitting it on the right near the end. Something very easy to do if you don't quite have the right angle. Zoran also struggling with some MTs. giving Abney an early lead, but it's Wario Stadium. We've got so much time. Shortcuts are not allowed in this one-try league. They're all non-shortcut, except for once per match, each player can call a shortcut joker and play a track shortcut instead. So for the most part, we will be non-shortcut, but both these players have played quite a lot of shortcut, Abney being the shortcut champion. I think it's pretty likely we'll see at least one shortcut track tonight. And Zoran into the wall on the shroom again. On lap 1, he used a second shroom to recover quicker. Now missing a shroom for lap 3. Zoran just struggling with that shroom. He did seem a little bit concerned when Abney picked this track, so perhaps he hasn't put much time into it lately, and just showing a bit of rust, perhaps. Abney pretty much cruising at this point. We'll see what Zoran does without a shroom. It will lose him quite a bit of time. Not shrooming over these two hills, as you can see, just slams into the second hill. Loses you a large amount of time. Abney cruising home is going to take his 4th track, and with that, the first set will go to Abney. Also, Abney beat my PR by half a second. It's upsetting. He didn't beat my flap with one shroom, though. Bit of pride. And for the first track of set 2, Zoran is taking us back to Frapp Snowland. Interesting pick from him. Abney taking that track in set 1. We'll see if Zoran can redeem himself here. Both going for the AB spin start, as you'd expect. First shroom, Zoran looking like he got a really good angle off of that, but pretty neck and neck heading into the canyon, or tunnel, whatever you want to call this. Zoran just clipping the wall on the exit. That is quite a tough corner. You're trying to balance staying as tight as possible with not hitting the wall, and Abney will take an early lead. Zoran having little touches on the snow. Those lose a surprising amount of time. You wouldn't think so, just little touches, but they add up. Abney going to the outside of the snowmen on lap 2. Zoran with a nice shroom, caught him up some time. And just like that, looks like we're right back neck and neck. Abney's lap 0.01 faster than Zoran's. So Abney does still have a bit of a lead. Zoran again with just some touches through that section into the snow, and you can see just how much that actually did lose him. Both players making it in between the snowmen, making it look pretty easy, even though it isn't. Abney able to keep quite a tight line, so is Zoran, but Abney just with that little bit of a cleaner run. I believe he will, yes, he will take the first track of set 2. For the next track, Abney's taking us to Calamari Desert, a track that historically he is very good on. A bit of a false start from Zoran there. You can't pick the same track again within the same set. But in the next set, the person who didn't pick it in the previous set can then pick it in that set. Then after 2 sets, it all resets back to 0. You can pick whatever you want in the 3rd set. It does get slightly complicated, the system, but shorter answer is yes, just not in the same set. Wow, that is cool, Yoshi. I did not know that. Both players pretty close, about a 0.2 difference after lap 1. Both using their first shroom on lap 1, but I believe Abney will be going for a 102 shroom strat. The trains on this track are on a cycle, so you know where they're going to be every time, but if you use a 111 shroom strat, that's using a shroom on every lap, the train on lap 3 can be a bit of a pain. It looks like Zoran is going for that strat. We'll see if he's got the pace to need to do a train gap. You can get yourself in between the cars on the train is a very difficult strategy. See if he looks like he's gonna have to attempt it, and he doesn't make it. Hits the wheels. Abney just going behind the train. I guess either Zoran just deciding it was worth the risk to try to catch Abney, but he will most likely lose this track. It would take something pretty monumental from Abney at this point. And Abney will take track number 2. Well, free solo, honestly, it's a bit impressive you even got it once. It is not easy. You need to line yourself up right, you need to be going at a decent speed, and you even need to aim yourself a bit left in the direction the train is going to get yourself through. Zoran will be taking us to Choco Mountain. Horrible track, if I do say so myself, but should be entertaining. It is a bit high variance with the walls being set up in a way that they kind of suck you in. Very strange. This is another track where we could see some variation in the shroom strats. The best place to use the shroom is around turn 1, but on lap 1 you obviously have the start boost taking you around turn 1. So it depends which lap these players decide to use their extra shroom on turn 2. Abney looking like he's saving it, same with Zoran. Zoran was climbing the walls just a little bit there. Easy thing to do on this track. Luckily, on this track, you can kind of get up on the walls a little bit, and it doesn't lose you much time. Just kind of with the way they're designed. Both players getting good hills at the end. And Abney saving his shroom again, hitting the wall. Gonna lose time to Zoran. It looks like Zoran's started a little later than Abney too, so this might be even closer than what it looks like. Abney up on the hill a little bit. That, again, shouldn't have lost him too much time. He gets bad hills on lap 2. Zoran getting good hills. Abney missing an MT up the hill and into the wall. Oh, Zoran into the same wall. Both players making some mistakes. Abney into the fence. That fence is a very common thing to hit on this track. You're trying to keep as tight as humanly possible. It's looking like Abney. He gets bad hills again. Zoran gets good hills. And Abney does take it. And just like that, Abney one track away from potentially taking a huge 2-0 lead in sets. And he's going to be taking us to Yoshi Valley. Potentially a risky pick. That is a very high variance track with the spinies. Of course, hitting one will make you spin out and potentially spin you off the track. And if you fall off the track on Yoshi Valley, it is a long way to the ground. It's a much bigger time loss than falling off other tracks would be, just because it is such a long fall. Both electing to do the A-B spin start. Zoran, though, is angled too tight, hits the fence on the shroom, and he's just stuck on the ground. Abney making it through the spinies on lap 1. Zoran gonna have a bit of trouble, manages to get through. Abney with a good hairpin jump. These spinies on this track are not RNG, they're on cycles, but because there's so many of them, if you make some mistakes, suddenly the cycles are just off, and especially on lap 3, you're just not gonna know where those spinies are. Abney with a huge lead after lap 1. Hitting the fence there, just avoiding the spinies at all costs. Giving up on his drift to avoid them again, but Zoran hits a spiny through the first group and into the wall. That wall is so weird. If you hit it in the wrong part, it just eats you. It will kill all your speed. You kind of clip into both the wall and the ground, and it just destroys all your speed. Abney now with a very comfortable lead. I would be surprised if he goes to the left here. But he decides not to play it safe, goes through the spinies again, and hits one on lap 3. Like I said, if you're off your normal pace, those lap 3 spinies are just in all the worst kinds of places. But even with that spin out, he is comfortably in the lead. Taking the quickest line to the line through the grass. Obviously not worth doing laps 1 and 2 because you would lose too much time getting back on the road. But Abney does take the 4th track, and with that, his 2nd set. I believe Abney is watching Zoran's stream. I don't think Zoran is watching Abney's, or at the very least, yeah, I don't think he's watching Abney's because he has asked me to tell him the result in the group chat we have. For the first track of set number 3, Zoran is taking us back to Mario Raceway. The one track so far he has won on, so probably a smart choice from him. Players hopping through the grass to minimize the time that they are on the grass. The grass, of course, slowing them down. Both making the mushroom cut clean on lap 1. Apologies for the static. We are using Abney's audio and his audio setup. He's been struggling to figure out what causes that static. So it does happen every now and then. Pretty close after lap 1, about 0.4 in it. Easily gained back if someone was to miss the mushroom cut, for example. Both players getting through relatively clean on lap 2. Oh, but Zoran hitting the wall on the shroom, that is going to cost him a lot of time. Abney now with a pretty comfortable lead after lap 2. Abney also electing to do the extra MT on that little straightaway. Misses the third one. Gets through the mushroom cut safely this time. That little extra MT on that straightaway before the mushroom cut saves a surprising amount of time, but is very difficult to pull off quick enough for it to save time. Abney taking track number 1 of set number 3. And we will be going back to Luigi Raceway. Both players now can start picking tracks that they have already picked. It is set 3, so Abney going back to a track he feels he has that advantage on. No, nobody has picked Rainbow Road, although don't be giving them any ideas. PAL Rainbow Road is reaching up near 6 minutes of multiple colors, destroying your eyes. Zoran in the sand here on turn 1. That sand loses you a shocking amount of time, even a small touch. And if you're racing your Ghost, it's just gonna skyrocket off into the distance. Zoran's struggling with the MT coming out of the tunnel. With a pretty comfortable lead after lap 1, a little over 1 full second, which in time trials and especially on a track that's this low variance is quite a lead. Yeah, Brian, if you want to be glass half full about it. Zoran's struggling on turn 1 again into the sand, but Abney's struggling on the entrance to the tunnel. There is some oddly angled ground on the entrance to that tunnel, so it can at times push you into that wall. Zoran looking like he's going for a 1-1-1 shroom strat. Very interesting. I believe that is theoretically faster if you can pull off a good mystery boost every lap, but not by much. Abney just with his consistency, really no big mistakes, and he is looking very likely to take track number 2. But Zoran does have this shroom at the end. Oh, but he shrooms into the wall, immediately canceling his shroom, and Abney will take that safely. And we get our first Joker called. We're going to Frap Snowland for a shortcut run. Very interesting choice from Zoran. Abney does hold the world record on Frap Snowland, but Zoran's certainly no pushover on the shortcut side. This should be has the potential to be a very interesting race. Both players very good at shortcut. We'll see how risky they'll play this. Very easy to miss this shortcut or to go out of bounds a little bit early. We'll see if they do the boost start. Both players doing the boost start, both going right. Zoran getting stuck on the hill. Both players looking like they got the shortcut. Abney playing it a little safe, but oh, he loses his shroom on the snow. There is that is a risk. Oh, but it looks. Did Zoran actually get the shortcut on lap 2? It doesn't look like he did. He missed the shortcut. He got placed further ahead from the bridge, and Abney will take the shortcut track. You can tell usually when somebody got the shortcut or not. They get placed right on the edge of the bridge. If they get placed further forward like Zoran did, it's usually an indicator that they missed the shortcut. And Abney going right back for his Joker. Wario Stadium shortcut. This could go any which way. Wario Stadium, very high variance. There is a thing called a zero frame in this game where the distance your kart travels in one single frame skips over the region before the wall that you would have to jump. Normally it is a one frame trick to get a wall jump, but sometimes your kart travels too fast and you don't even get that frame. Looking like both players struggling a bit. Abney clipping the wall on the way over on the first shortcut, both missing the second shortcut, both struggling with shortcut number 1 on lap 2. Zoran struggling a little more. Yeah, this is why I said this track can go any which way. Both having quite a bit of trouble. As expected, really. This track is pretty brutal. Zoran taking the lead now. Abney just repeatedly getting zero framed. And Zoran missing. We're suddenly all tied again because Zoran hit too far left and got over the wall but was too far to the left, so didn't trigger the lap. This track. Basically, whoever gets over this wall first wins. Abney getting zero framed over and over, and Zoran gets over. Abney does too, and Zoran just takes it. What a race. Absolutely crazy race there from both players. That is both players' shortcut jokers spent right after another. So from now on it will be non-shortcut. Abney saying he forgot to switch to his other controller. I believe he, like many people, has an A/B spin controller with a better stick in it, so he can A/B spin faster. Switched to that for Frapp Snowland and forgot to switch back for Wario Stadium. Heading to DK's Jungle Parkway, another high variance track. Interesting pick. The jump across the river, these players will be trying to get as far left as possible, and if they cut it too tight, they fall into the water and will lose a lot of time. Coming up to the first jump. Abney looking like he played it a little safer than Zoran. Both making it across safely. Using the shroom across the grass. Abney getting caught up there. I believe missed his drift and ended up getting hit by a couple more coconuts. So Zoran taking a lead. But this being DK, leads can evaporate in an instant. Both going to try to get up that hill as fast as possible. Doing a pretty good job. Zoran with just a 0.16 lead after lap 1. Getting hit by a coconut on his way to the ramp. See how risky they go. Abney going very safe. Zoran also going very safe. Looking like they both actually took it. Landed in pretty much the same spot. Abney taking the shroom across the grass while Zoran didn't. I guess he thought landing so far right it wasn't worth doing the shroom through the extra grass. He will likely use his shroom heading up the hill in the cave. Whether he decides to do that lap on this lap or the final lap, we'll see. Looking like he's going to save it for the final lap. Just makes it up that hill. Right at the opening of the cave there, the wall is too steep, and if you climb up too far to the left, you actually tumble back down to the bottom. Abney playing it pretty safe. Zoran playing it less safe. Both make it. This could potentially be very close at the end when Zoran uses that last shroom. It does save quite a lot of time in the cave, but the optimal shroom is to go across the grass, so Abney will have gained a lot on him from that. It's looking like Zoran might be a little too far back, and yeah, Abney will take that. And with that, he does in fact take his third straight set, winning the match. So congrats to Abney taking a 3-0 victory. Not as close as I was expecting going in, to be honest, but Abney is the higher ranked player, taking 3-0. Zoran saying now in the little group chat we have that will be better next time. Clearly not going to take this laying down. These two do play another match later on. I'm not exactly sure which week they play each other again. Of course, everybody playing everybody in their division twice. Our next match will be coming up tomorrow. I believe it is my own match. If I just pull up the schedule real quick. And it is my match against Climate at 7 p.m. Eastern. So come on back and support us for that one. Should be a very close match, that one. And for now, thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.